where those who perceive truth may strive to make others see.
A big, powerful America, and shoot them for what?
On that continent, we are trying to forge a new identity for which we need each other.
Good evening, Blackbirds. My name is Sleepy. I am your bookman for today, the author of this particular report. There's been a lot of news lately about a foreigner crisis, particularly in New York City. And I think this is really that this particular crisis seems to be centered around the city, but I really want to stress that New York is known as a sanctuary city. So there's a large influx of immigrants there for a variety of reasons, and it seems as though with this particular event, there is literally there's literally been incidents in terms of like crime in the subway station that has there's been an increase in crime that has been reported in the subway station that has led to literal military presence. And I'm not a fan of what's going on, but what I do want to say is that this idea of them being I just want to really hope you guys really understand being a sanctuary city, that is where basically that's kind of unofficially, that's where kind of cities say, hey, look, foreigners are welcome, and they're more open in terms of their borders, and both sides I'll agree that this is probably the cause of this particular issue. In terms of this particular thing, I really want to stress the in terms of actually being an actual sanctuary city. This is where there is no cooperation between immigration and federal deportation. There's no integration in terms of there's no they limit cooperation between entities that would ship these guys back versus entities that are responsible for really keeping and housing immigrants in a certain way. And this is really how on paper this idea of being a sanctuary city really goes about separating themselves from people that aren't sanctuary cities. One thing to note: a lot of border cities, a lot of borders, a lot of people cross into the U.S. illegally. And their first thought is to get as far away from the border as possible, and there seems to be a lot of pressure to get away from the border, whatever means necessary. So it does. I really want to stress that these are New York City stands alone in the among sanctuary cities, and there is a significant I personally believe that the idea of immigrants and what you can do has been is an area of interest in terms of resource accumulation. People don't regulate military, the military presence of large corporations outside of the U.S. Inside the U.S., personal security, they're limited based on a number of things. And outside, when you outside, you don't have that outside the United States, you don't have that regulation. And in this really conspiracy realm, you think like destroying a city, a sanctuary city, is a lot easier for entities that can that really control a lot of resources, and for whatever means or gains that they have in terms of the idea of destroying a city, in terms, or targeting a city from the outside, becomes easy, or becomes a kind of a thing that I think about, in terms of you have this mass accumulation of resources going to few people, and then for some reason, and then the idea of a sanctuary city becoming more appealing in terms of how to destroy an entity, or control becomes a lot more apparent in terms of how you can control people based on fear and all that. But in terms of sanctuary cities, in regard, you do have back to the report, in terms of this idea, sanctuary cities, you got New York City, you got Los Angeles, you got Chicago, you got San Francisco. Of course, New York is in the lead by far, but I do believe that we want to pay attention to what happens in cities like this, what happens to foreigners, the foreigner presidents. I know in Denver, Colorado, there does seem to be a particular focus on, or not a focus, a particular new presence for foreigners to be particularly more so apparent on the roadside. We're used to they a lot of times they'll end up like basically washing your windows, or offering to wash your windows, and it does seem to be a focus for a lot of people, or for people in general. This is this idea of sanctuary cities. This is politically controversial in terms of these two parties that are prevalent right now, but the idea is there needs to be something done. And like I said, although the idea of a sanctuary city may be controversial to the prevalent political parties, there does seem to be agreement across the aisles. Eric Adams, the New York City mayor, does seem to want, or know, or is definitely recognizing this as a potential crisis, and does seem to have some sort of or does want to come off to the city as if he there is a plan in order, at least. Right now, I really want the people to understand really the element of sanctuary cities on paper versus in reality, versus this idea of militarization of, and what that means to a particular public. And I want to also note that I did search this, and I searched for militarization of subways in terms of AI, and there, what's really funny is there doesn't seem to be any mention of this, like the subway this problem in general in terms of AI. But there are articles and there is public recognition. So I'm really trying to figure out where the disconnect is, and where the disconnect could be in terms of this idea of AI. I do understand that this particular platform is focusing on the idea of really what it means in terms of information in general, or not. They should be focused on providing a lot of providing information in general in terms of becoming a platform, maybe even a search platform in terms of searching for information for a lot of people. And I really want to make sure that a lot of people are aware of this idea of what they can do on a platform and on different, with different artificial intelligence providers, and more aware of the biases that they may or may not hold, the idea of another thing about asylum cities is, like I said, New York City is kind of the top destination. There is, in terms of Los Angeles County, they're the second most common. Cook County and Chicago is the third most popular destination. Harris County and Houston comes in at number 4. Miami and Dade County comes in at number 5. When it comes down to really coming into the country, a lot of immigrants, or when it comes to illegal immigration and the problem of quote unquote legal immigration, I think about like 45 to 47% are people who are overstaying on visas, so they entered the country illegally, but in terms of their visa and their entry was based on staying a shorter time than what they're staying on now. In terms of it seems like this is, when it comes down to really the border crisis, in terms of what's happening at the border, it does seem they're known, in terms of how immigrants get into the country. They can hide in vehicles. They can trek through deserts. A lot of them cross the Rio Grande. They use a lot of people to smuggle, and operations to smuggle. And a lot of the people who lead these operations are known as coyotes. And a lot of them, they enter, right through the border with forged documentation. And this does seem to be a focus in terms of right now for New York. And I really want to stress the idea of or the dangers in accumulation of resources versus what we're seeing play out right now. Definitely want people to think more about that idea. This has been your report today. I am your bookman sleep, or your reporter Sleepy. In terms of please like and subscribe for more, and I'll be sure to I'll see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye.